I sit frozen at my parents' dining table. My fingers suddenly numb as Dad slides the document across the polished oak surface. The co-sign agreement lands between us like a grenade with its pin removed. $42,000. The figure burns into my vision like a brand. It's for Caleb's future, Mom says, her voice warm honey over steel. Your nephew deserves the best education possible. My coffee cup slips from my grasp, dark liquid splashing across the pristine white tablecloth. The brown stain spreads, seeping into the fabric permanent, accusing. Oh, Violet. Mom jumps up, dabbing frantically with her napkin. But no one moves the document. It sits there, watermarked with coffee at the corner, waiting for my signature. I glance around the table. Dad's expression remains fixed and expectant. Damon, my brother, watches me with that familiar half-smile that's always preceded me giving in. His wife, Andrea, studiously examines her plate. They've all been waiting for this moment, I realize. This entire family dinner, the first in months, was never about reconnection. The roast chicken sits cold on my plate. The meal I'd barely touched now a prop in their performance. 2 days ago, I'd been standing beside the company picnic table when Sarah Miller, my coworker's teenage daughter, chirped, "My dad says you got a $16,000 bonus. That's like so much money." The words had washed over me in the bright sunshine, my pride instantly curdling into wariness. Who else had heard? How many people knew? The next morning, Mom called. "It's been too long since we all gathered for dinner," she'd said, her voice unusually bright. "Sunday at 5? I'm making your favorite lemon roast chicken." Now I understand. The choreography of it all, the favorite meal, the casual conversation that somehow highlighted Damon's financial struggles, the way Mom mentioned Caleb's bright future at least 4 times before dessert. My hands tremble as I reach for the document, but not from fear. Something else burns through me now. Something that's been building for 29 years of being the reliable daughter, the sensible sister, the convenient solution. "I can't sign this," I say, pushing the paper back toward my father. The silence that follows feels like the moment before a thunderclap. "What do you mean you can't sign it?" Dad's voice drops to that dangerous quiet I remember from childhood. Mom's eyes instantly well with tears. "Your brother is suffering, Violet. You have enough you should share." "Suffering?" The word escapes as a whisper. Damon sits in designer clothes across from me, his new watch catching the light. He just took the family to Disney World last month. "That was different," Mom snaps. "That was for Caleb. Everything is always for someone else. Never for me, and never by them." My hands stop trembling. I stand, the chair legs scraping against the hardwood floor. "Violet, don't be selfish," Dad says, the word landing like a slap. "We raised you better than this." "Did you?" I look between them. "Or did you raise me to be convenient?" Damon sighs dramatically. "Here we go with the middle child syndrome again." "Only child syndrome, you mean," I correct him, "since you've been the only child that matters since we were kids." Mom gasps. "That's not true. We love you both equally." "Equally?" I laugh, the sound foreign even to my own ears. "When's the last time you helped me with anything? When I needed a co-signer for my apartment 3 years ago, you said I needed to learn independence." "That was different," Dad insists. "It's always different when it's me." I grab my purse from the back of the chair. "I won't do it." Damon leans back, that smug certainty still painted across his face. He's waiting for the inevitable for me to cave under pressure, to sign just to make peace, as I've done my entire life. "You'll change your mind," he says confidently. "You always do." But as I look at the family assembled before me, their expressions ranging from disappointment to calculation, something inside me hardens. The fragile peace I've maintained through years of quiet acquiescence suddenly seems less valuable than my dignity. I turn and walk toward the door, feeling their stares burning into my back. For the first time in my life, I'm saying no. And it feels like freedom. I unlock my apartment door with trembling hands, the evening's confrontation still burning through me like acid. The hallway light flickers as I stumble inside, dropping my purse on the floor instead of hanging it on its usual hook. My phone buzzes the 5th call from Mom since I walked out 20 minutes ago. I silence it and collapse onto my sofa, the cushions exhaling beneath my weight. The family dinner replays in my mind. Dad's expectant stare, Mom's calculated tears, Damon's smug certainty. For 29 years, I've been the reliable solution to every problem that wasn't mine to solve. My phone buzzes again. A text from Dad, We need to talk about this, Violet. Family helps family. I close my eyes, but my thumb betrays me, scrolling through our message history. And there it is, an exchange I wasn't meant to see. Dad forgot to create a separate group chat, including me in a weeks-old conversation with Mom and Damon. Vi got her bonus. Sarah's daughter confirmed it yesterday. $16 Kelvin. Perfect timing. My stomach lurches as I read Damon's response. About time she contributes. I'll bring the paperwork Sunday. Mom's reply makes me physically ill. Don't mention the amount right away. Start with Caleb's future. She always softens when we talk about her responsibilities to him. The phone slips from my fingers, clattering to the hardwood floor. I slide down the wall until I'm sitting, knees pulled to my chest, struggling to breathe. They had planned this ambush for weeks. Not as parents concerned for their son, not as grandparents worried about their grandson's education, but as people who viewed me solely as an untapped financial resource. The realization settles into my bones with cold certainty. I have never been a daughter to them. I've been a backup plan. 2 days later, on Tuesday after work, I find myself perched on my childhood twin bed, surrounded by faded posters and participation trophies my parents never bothered to remove. The stuffed elephant I'd carried everywhere as a child sits on the nightstand, one eye missing, silently witnessing my humiliation. Violet, be reasonable. Dad towers over me, arms crossed. Mom stands beside him, a united front of disappointment. We've already spoken with the bank. They're expecting your signature tomorrow. You what? The words escape in a horrified whisper. We knew you'd come around, Mom says, smoothing her cardigan. You always do the right thing. The right thing has always meant the thing that benefits everyone but me. Why can't Damon get the loan himself? I ask, though I already know the answer. Dad shifts uncomfortably. His credit isn't optimal right now. Mom sits beside me, the mattress dipping under her weight. She places her hand on mine. I resist the urge to pull away. There's something else you should know, she says, her voice dropping. The money we set aside for Caleb's college fund. We had to use it when Damon's landscaping business failed last year. And the pet supply store the year before that, I mutter. He's trying, Mom snaps. Not everyone has your advantages. My advantages? Like working 60-hour weeks while putting myself through college? Like living in a studio apartment with a leaking ceiling for 3 years to pay off my student loans? The bedroom door swings open. Damon strides in, waving a manila folder. Got the paperwork all filled out. Just need your John Hancock, sis. 3 against 1. In the very room where I once felt safe. What happens if when Damon can't make the payments? I ask. Then you'll cover them, Dad says simply. That's what co-signing means. And if I don't sign? A heavy silence falls. Mom's hand withdraws from mine as if I've suddenly become contaminated. Then you're choosing money over family, Dad says. And we'll have to reconsider what family means. The threat hangs in the air, cut off, excommunicated, for the crime of protecting myself from financial ruin. You're asking me to risk $42,000 because Damon can't manage his money, I say, standing up. That's not family. That's exploitation. And after everything we've done for you, Mom begins, tears welling. What exactly have you done for me? The question silences the room. When I needed a co-signer for my apartment, you told me to figure it out myself. When I was working 2 jobs to pay for textbooks, you were buying Damon a new car. That was different, Dad insists. It's always different when it's me, I reply, echoing my words from dinner. I'm leaving now. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I open my laptop to check my work email. Among the usual messages sits one from California Regional Operations. Transfer application status, approved. I sent it a month ago, just in case something like this happens. I stare at the acceptance letter, my heart pounding, 3,000 miles away, a fresh start, a place where no one expects me to set myself on fire to keep others warm. As I stare at the acceptance letter, I wonder if I should confront my family with my decision immediately or quietly prepare my escape. Immediate honesty might force them to finally see me, but silence would give me the time to secure my freedom completely. What would you do when the people who should love you unconditionally only see you as a resource to exploit? On Thursday morning, I hear Damon's voice before I see him, that confident tenor carrying across the marble-floored lobby of biometrics research. My stomach drops as I spot him near the reception desk, his hand resting on Caleb's shoulder like a shield. "There she is," he announces, loud enough to turn every head in the vicinity. Auntie Violet finally decided to show up for work. Caleb, 7 years old and innocent in his red dinosaur t-shirt, waves enthusiastically. Aunt Vi. The receptionist, Judy, shoots me a questioning glance. 2 engineers from the 3rd floor pause mid-conversation, watching the scene unfold. Heat crawls up my neck as I cross the lobby, my heels clicking too loudly against the floor. "What are you doing here?" I keep my voice low, professional. Damon's smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Just thought Caleb should see where his favorite aunt works. The aunt who promised to help with his college fund." "I never promised that." The words come out sharper than I intended. "That's not what Mom and Dad remember." He leans closer, still smiling for our audience. "Or what I've told everyone in the family." Caleb tugs at my hand. "Can I see where you make the heart machines?" Before I can answer, Damon pulls out his phone. "Smile with Aunt Violet, buddy. Let's show Grandma and Grandpa." The flash catches me unprepared. Another piece of evidence in their campaign. We should get going. I usher them toward the exit, aware of curious eyes following us. "Uncle Roy asked why you backed out after promising to help," Damon says casually. "Aunt Meredith, too. Everyone's concerned about you." The implication hangs between us. They all think I'm the problem. "Time to go," I insist, opening the door to the street. Damon's parting words chill me despite the warm May morning. "Family takes care of family, Vi. You're making everyone wonder what happened to you." Back at my desk, I can't focus on the cardiac monitoring prototype specifications. Instead, I pull up my apartment lease renewal form on my screen. The deadline is tomorrow, but the document remains blank, my cursor blinking accusingly. 6 years in this apartment, my first real home after college, and now I'll leave it behind. Sleep has become a distant memory. Last night, I stared at my bedroom ceiling until 3, mentally calculating how much of my bonus remains after the transfer deposit. The weight of family expectations presses against my chest in the darkness. Their voices echo. Selfish, ungrateful, cold. The voice I hear loudest is my own. Survivor. I open my phone settings and toggle on the automatic recording for all calls. Then I create a new folder labeled Family Documentation and move yesterday's voicemails there. Mom's tearful accusations, Dad's stern ultimatums, evidence of what they truly think of me. My text message archive grows with screenshots. "Dad, after everything we've given you. Mom, your brother needs this more than you do." Damon, just sign the papers and stop being difficult. Given what? They refused to help with college. My first apartment required 3 extra jobs to afford the security deposit. Meanwhile, Damon received down payments for 2 houses he later lost to foreclosure. Working through lunch again? Martin Reynolds stands at my cubicle entrance, his silver-framed glasses reflecting the fluorescent lights. As department head, he rarely visits the engineering floor. Just catching up on some things. I minimize the lease form. Martin studies me, his expression thoughtful. "Whatever battle you're fighting at home, your work family has your back." The simple statement catches me off guard. For days, I've been hiding my distraction, afraid it would affect my professional standing. Instead of criticism, here was recognition. "Thank you," I manage, the words inadequate for the surge of gratitude I feel. He nods once before continuing his rounds. On Wednesday next week, the moving boxes stare back at me, each one labeled in my precise handwriting: kitchen, bathroom, winter clothes, books. My entire life categorized and contained, ready for shipment to a coast 3,000 miles away. I check off another item on my handwritten list: digital accounts, family access removed. Yesterday, I changed every password, deleted, saved payment information from shared accounts, and unlinked my credit card from the family's streaming services. Small acts of financial severance that feel strangely liberating. The last automatic payment to my parents' cell phone family plan, which somehow I'd been paying for the past 2 years, had been redirected to my new individual account. I'd calculated exactly how much I've contributed to family expenses over the past decade. $37,842, almost enough to cover Damon's loan request. The irony isn't lost on me. With each completed task, the vice grip around my chest loosens. For the first time since that disastrous dinner, I breathe without pain. The doorbell rings precisely at 9, right on schedule. The moving company I'd researched for weeks, the one with the highest reliability rating and strictest confidentiality policy, arrives to collect the boxes that won't fit in my checked luggage. "California's a big change from Boston," the mover comments, hefting my carefully packed books. "That's the point," I reply, signing the final paperwork. By 10:30, my apartment stands nearly empty, personal touches erased, nothing but the bare minimum remaining for my final 3 days. The landlord had been surprised when I declined to renew my lease last week, but pleased with the spotless condition of the apartment. My security deposit would be returned in full. I lower myself onto the lone remaining piece of furniture, a single folding chair, and check off the next item. Physical possessions secured. My phone buzzes with a text from Martin. Letter of recommendation sent directly to California office. They're lucky to get you. Patricia from HR had already confirmed my transfer paperwork was complete. My new apartment lease in San Diego was signed, first month's rent and security deposit paid. One-way plane ticket purchased for Saturday morning. All bridges to my new life constructed while burning none behind me. That wasn't my style. The buzz of the apartment intercom startles me at 6 that evening. "Violet?" The building manager's voice crackles through the speaker. "Your parents are here. Should I send them up?" My heart hammers against my ribs, but my voice remains steady. "No, Fred. I'm not expecting visitors. They're saying it's about a bank meeting? Something urgent about paperwork." A smile tugs at my lips. "I'm afraid they've been misinformed. I moved out this morning." The silence stretches before Fred speaks again. "But you're still there. I saw you yesterday. The new tenant moves in tomorrow. I'm just doing final cleaning." The lie slides easily from my lips. "Please tell them they must have the wrong information." Through the intercom, I hear my father's booming voice. "What do you mean someone else is moving in? That's my daughter's apartment." A door opens in the background. "Oh, hello. Are you the previous tenant's family? I'm Kelly. Just doing some measuring before I move in tomorrow." The screech in my mother's voice carries clearly through the connection. "Moving in? But that's impossible." I end the call, silencing their protests. Within minutes, my phone lights up with their numbers, one after another. Mother, father, Damon. Each call diverted straight to voicemail. Each message unheard as I switch my phone to Do Not Disturb. For the first time in 29 years, I'm unavailable to their demands. Later, curled in my sleeping bag on the bare floor, I watch the city lights flicker through uncurtained windows. 3 more days, 72 hours until my flight. I wonder if complete separation is the only way to preserve my freedom, or if someday we might rebuild a relationship with healthier boundaries. What price is too high for family peace? The question follows me into uneasy dreams. Friday arrives with a flurry of final preparations. Martin meets me for coffee near the office, sliding an envelope across the table. "Your official recommendation," he says. I also called Joseph Wright in the California office personally. Told him he's getting the best engineer on our team. "Thank you," I whisper, the words inadequate for the lifeline he's extended. "You know," Martin says, stirring his coffee, "I left my own family in Minnesota 20 years ago for similar reasons. Sometimes distance is the only path to healing." Patricia arrives as promised, collecting my office, mail forwarding forms, and the keys to my post office box. "I'll make sure nothing important gets lost in the shuffle," she assures me, her efficiency a comfort. "Your new HR paperwork is already processed. Benefits transfer effective Monday." With their support, my departure feels less like escape and more like evolution. That night, as I settle into the hotel room that will shelter me until my early morning flight, a new voicemail notification appears. 5 today, but this one from my father stands out from the increasingly frantic messages of the past few days. "Violet." His voice sounds smaller somehow, uncertain. "We went to your apartment again today," the manager said. "He said you're gone, that someone else has already moved in. I don't understand. Where are you? Call us back." The commanding tone has vanished, replaced by genuine confusion. A text from my mother follows. "What did we do wrong, Violet? Why would you leave without saying goodbye?" Not, "How could you abandon your family responsibilities?" Or, "What about your brother's needs?" But a question about me, about my feelings, perhaps for the first time. I place my phone on the nightstand, neither answering nor deleting the messages, the first cracks in their certainty. The first acknowledgement that I'm not simply a resource to be tapped, but a person who can choose to leave. Tomorrow, the California sun awaits, and with it, a life defined by my choices alone. 3 weeks into California life without my toxic family, I am focused on healing and work only. The only thing I sent them was my address and my new number. I didn't want to cut off ties with my parents. Then one Wednesday night, an email from my parents arrives at 2:17 a.m. I'm not sleeping anyway, still adjusting to the constant sound of waves through my half-open window. 3 weeks in California, and the ocean remains both strange and comfortable. Subject: urgent. Damon in hospital. My finger hovers over delete. 3 previous emails this week carried similar urgency: important, please read, and your family needs you now, and don't ignore this, Violet, each containing escalating emotional pleas. I open it anyway. Violet, your brother has been admitted to Memorial with chest pains. The doctors say it's stress-induced. He keeps asking for you. We can't believe you would cause this kind of suffering in your own brother. If you ever loved your family at all, call home immediately. The misspellings tell me more than the actual words. Mom, who once returned a birthday card to a friend because they spelled sincerely wrong, doesn't make spelling errors. This performance of distress is calculated, right down to the grammatical failures. I scroll down. P.S. We may have to sell Grandma Stewart's silver and the brooch she always wanted you to have. Damon needs financial support during this difficult time. The threatened loss of family heirlooms should sting. Instead, it clarifies everything. I've become a resource to be mined, not a daughter to be loved. My fingers move with surgical precision across the keyboard. I open my meticulously maintained financial spreadsheet, the one documenting every penny I've earned since age 18. The spreadsheet I started the summer. Dad refused to co-sign my apartment lease, telling me I needed to learn independence. Independence. The word that only applied to me, never to Damon. I type my response with the confidence of someone who has finally recognized her worth. Mom and Dad, I'm sorry to hear about Damon's health issues. I've attached a spreadsheet of my financial history since turning 18. You'll note that I worked through college while maintaining a 3.8 GPA, paid off $62,000 in student loans without assistance, and have never once asked family for financial help. I've been responsible for myself since I was 18. Damon can learn to do the same at 34. The silver and brooch belong to you. Sell them if you must. But please remember that what you're selling isn't just silver, it's the last remnant of my trust in your fairness. Violet. I press send without rereading, without second-guessing. The California sunrise paints my apartment walls amber as I finally drift toward sleep. 2 days later, my phone lit up with a video call request. Mom and Dad, I've declined 6 previous attempts, but something about this 7th feels like a threshold I'm finally ready to cross. I positioned my laptop carefully, the rolling Pacific visible through the window behind me. Then I accepted. Their faces appear, pinched and unfamiliar in the glow of their living room lamp. The familiar clutter of their house forms a chaotic backdrop. Damon's high school football trophies are still prominently displayed, despite the 20 years that have passed since he last played. Violet. Dad's voice holds none of its usual authority. You look different. I am different. 3 weeks of Pacific air and genuine respect from my colleagues have straightened my spine, relaxed the permanent furrow between my brows. How are you both? I ask, my voice steadier than it's ever been in their presence. How do you think we are? Mom snaps, her eyes already glistening with tears. Our daughter abandons us, won't help her struggling brother, disappears across the country without even saying goodbye properly. I sent you my new address and phone number, I reminded her. You've always known exactly where I am. That's not the point. The tears spill over now. Family takes care of family. Your brother had chest pains, I finish. Is he still in the hospital? A flicker of something embarrassment crosses Dad's face. He was released the next day. And diagnosed with stress-induced health problems, as your email claimed? Mom looks away. Dad shifts uncomfortably. The doctor said it was probably heartburn from his energy drinks. But the stress is real, Violet. Your brother is suffering. Because I won't sign away my financial security for his comfort? Because you've turned your back on this family. Mom's voice rises. After everything we've done for you. The question I've swallowed back my entire life finally breaks free. What exactly have you done for me that wasn't done tenfold for Damon? The silence stretches between us, a gulf wider than the continent now separating us. We gave you a home, Dad finally says, his voice hollow. You gave me shelter, food, and obligation. I gesture to my apartment, the ocean view now deepening to indigo as evening approaches. I've given myself a home. Mom's face crumples. So that's it? You've decided you don't need a family anymore? I've decided I need relationships built on mutual respect, not extraction. The words come from some wellspring of clarity I never knew I possessed. When you're ready to have a relationship that isn't about what I can give you, call me. I'll answer. I end the call before they can respond, before I can waver. The screen goes dark, reflecting my face calm, determined, unburdened. 3 weeks later, while scrolling through social media, I spotted a post from my cousin mentioning Damon's new job at an insurance office. Finally adulting, reads the caption beneath his uncomfortable smile. I don't know if it will last. I don't know if my parents will ever see me as more than a resource they failed to tap. But something has shifted in the family's tectonic plates. The package arrives on a Tuesday, small and wrapped in brown paper, postmarked from Boston. Inside lies Grandma Stewart's silver brooch, a delicate flower with a pearl center, and a note in my mother's perfect handwriting, free of misspellings or urgent capitalization. This was always meant for you. No demands, no guilt, no manipulation. Just an acknowledgement, perhaps the first step toward seeing me as I am. I pin the brooch to my lapel and step out into the California sunshine, breathing deep the salt air of freedom. 6 months later, California sunshine streams through the windows of my apartment, catching the dust motes dancing in the air. Laughter my own mingles with the voices of my guests as I set down a tray of lemon squares on the coffee table, to Violet and her new beginning. Martin raises his glass, his silver hair gleaming in the afternoon light. Around my living room, 8 new friends and colleagues lift their glasses in response. I take in the moment my housewarming party in a sunlit apartment that feels nothing like the cramped Boston rental where I'd spent years pinching pennies. The walls here display artwork I've chosen, not family photos placed out of obligation. On the mantel sits my favorite piece, a framed photograph of me standing alone on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, arms outstretched, face tilted toward the horizon. You look like you're about to take flight in that picture, says Elaine from the engineering department, nodding toward the photograph. That was exactly how I felt, I reply, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. Like I could finally breathe. The gathering flows with easy conversation, nothing like the tense dinners of my past. Here, no one watches me with calculation in their eyes, or measures my worth by what I can provide. 6 months later, my phone lights up with a familiar notification. Mom's name appears on my screen, the message simple. Your father and I would like to have dinner when you visit next month. We miss you. My fingers hover over the screen, but I don't feel the familiar panic. Instead, I type with deliberate care. I'd like that. Tuesday works for me. Just us, no Damon. No financial discussions. I'll meet you at Rossetti's at 7. 3 dots appear as she types, disappear, then reappear. Finally, Tuesday at 7. Just us. I set the phone down, noticing how my hands remain steady. The girl who would have anxiously waited by the phone, mentally rehearsing apologies for setting boundaries, is gone. In her place stands a woman who knows her worth beyond what she can give. When Martin and Patricia visit for a tech conference the following week, I take them to my favorite coastal restaurant. The sunset paints the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks as waves crash against the shore below our table. To chosen family, Martin says, raising his glass. And healthy boundaries. Patricia touches her glass to mine. You're thriving here, Violet. It suits you. Later that evening, alone in my apartment, I complete an online transfer moving funds into an account I've labeled Caleb's Education, My Terms. Beside my laptop sits an application for a senior position that opened up last week and a brochure for a first-time homebuyers workshop. My phone pings with a notification. I pause before sending a direct message to my 14-year-old nephew. When you're ready for college, come talk to me, not your parents. As I create this separate fund for Caleb, I wonder if helping him directly, rather than through his father, is the right balance between family responsibility and self-protection. When does helping family become harmful enabling, And when does protection become isolation? What boundaries would you set? The ocean breeze rustles through my open window, carrying the scent of salt and possibility. For the first time in 29 years, I'm writing my own story, and it begins with freedom.